Hi everyone, I'm Daniel Leith, admissions representative here at Bolivar Technical College.
I'm Erin Mock, I'm the Director of Nursing Education.
And I'm Afro Pedworth, Student Resources.
So here's how this works today. At any time when you have a question, feel free to leave it in the comments section. This program is 100% online, so it's perfect for RNs who want to continue working to get their BSN. Erin, can you tell us why RNs would want to get their BSN?
Yeah, absolutely. Do you want to tell them about texting in case they can't chat?
No technical.
Sure. If you can't chat, you're more than welcome to text me. That number is 417-771-3543. And if that's a question that you would have for us later on, we can answer that at any given time.
Okay, perfect. So the RN to BSN program is designed for working RNs that already have their associate's degree and they're interested in going back to school.
Great, sounds great. So in the BSN program, let's get into some of the details. Maybe one of your big questions would be, how long does it take to complete?
So the great thing is this program is designed to be completed inside of 1 year. So that's just 3 semesters of coursework and you're done.
And really that seems like a reasonable goal, something attainable. What's the class, the week look like?
So the week is going to be a little bit different depending on which classes you're taking, of course, but every class is going to start on a Monday, and it is a self-driven, or you're going to determine when you're going to do your schoolwork. So we call that asynchronous learning. So if you're working on Tuesday, you're not going to do classwork on Tuesday. So you'll set up your week to make sure that all the assignments for that week are completed by Sunday night. And then you'll do it all over again. Next Monday, we'll start a new week in each course.
Very good. So who will be teaching the classes?
Our classes will be taught by those that are master or doctorally prepared individuals. There are general education courses and there are nursing-based courses. Our goal is to make sure that our instructors really are experts in the field. So just depending on whatever course we're discussing, we're looking for an instructor that really knows about that material and is going to help you learn the most that you can and become a better nurse. Even in your gen ed courses, we recognize that those contribute to your overall understanding and communication skills and make you that better patient care advocate and communicator.
One of your big questions, I know it was kind of interesting for us, is what do the clinicals look like? How am I going to do clinicals when I'm 100% online?
Sure. So we do still have a few courses that have a clinical requirement. There are 4 of them actually. And with those courses, all clinicals are going to be completed in a really cool platform known as Shadow Health. So the student is able to log into Shadow Health and you actually get to verbally interact with an avatar. So depending again on the particular course topic, you would interact with that patient just like you would in a real world setting. So you get to practice the skills that you already have as a nurse, and you get to hone and develop new skills as you go through the BSN program through Shadow Health.
Man, that sounds interesting.
I think it's pretty cool. I actually used it as a student in my master's program and really did enjoy it.
So how about our faculty will be able to still be able to focus on each of their students, because we plan on keeping the class sizes pretty small, right?
Yes, that's true. If you've been a student before at BTC, you know that we really value our students. We want to make sure that we're available to you, and that doesn't change in the online environment. We expect for our cohort groups to be about 20 students in size, and our faculty are definitely there and available for you as you work through your coursework. They can be available by email. Using technology like this, we can even set up face-to-face meetings, so you're not going to be out there on your own. There's also another person that's going to be accompanying you on your journey through the BSN program, and that's known as our SOS, or Student Online Support Person. And they will go with you class to class and make sure to be available as a resource for anything that, maybe isn't specifically course related. You just need to get answers as far as, what to expect in upcoming classes, or maybe you have a question about your financial aid. They can make sure that you get to the right person. So we've got several different people that are there to support you.
Very good. So our next class, our first class and up and coming, starts in January. It looks like we are gearing up and ready to go, have a lot of things in place. How are they going to get answers to the question that they have on an online class?
So there are several different modalities. Again, when you're enrolled in a class, of course, the easiest thing that you can do is to email your instructor. And as I mentioned, that instructor is there and available to you. They've dedicated time specifically for teaching this class. So as I mentioned, they are the experts in their field. So you might have a class that has a nurse practitioner that's currently practicing, but they still are available to answer your questions, and they're going to get back with you within 24 hours, to that email. If you have something more urgent, we're going to have available tech support. We're also going to have, again, like I said, that SOS coordinator. So, if you're trying to upload an assignment or something and you're nervous about meeting those deadlines, we've got this, I guess you could call them safety nets set up for you. We're always going to be able to get a response from somebody to address the need that you have.
Good. So some of the students might be asking, what kind of equipment am I going to need? Am I going to need a computer? What am I going to need as far as doing that from my home or wherever I'm doing those online classes?
Exactly, that's a good question. So obviously you're going to need to have access to certain technology to be able to access the online environment. So that includes a stable internet source. It includes having a computer. There are several things that you can do with a smartphone, but we really encourage you to make sure you have a desktop or a laptop computer. You're going to have the best results in accessing your coursework there. In addition to that, you would need to have a webcam with a microphone. That way, if you need to do face-to-face interaction with an instructor or anybody throughout the course. Also, that allows you to speak to the avatar when you're working within Shadow Health. So that's the basic equipment that you would need. This is an online course, but it doesn't mean that you don't have access to, the computers at the campus as well. If that's something that you would like to discuss, we can definitely talk through that with you.
We have a great question. This is perfect timing. Are the classes on video or at certain times?
That's a very good question. So by design, most of your coursework would occur asynchronously. So as I described earlier, you're going to determine when you do that coursework. Now, an instructor may set up a live meeting time. Those may be set up just as open forums for Q&A where you're going to get FaceTime with that instructor if you've got something that you need to ask. If there's anything like that that's an established, this is the time that we're meeting, that's going to be on your syllabus from the very beginning. So we know that you're working professionals, and it isn't going to be a situation where they're throwing out, you've got to show up at this meeting next week or anything like that. You're going to know if there's a session like that planned with your instructor the moment that you start that class.
Great questions, and keep those coming.
Absolutely.
So if I understood you right, it's you would get your assignments on a Monday, and then they would be due by the following Sunday night.
That's correct. That's correct. And those assignments could be a variety of different types of things. Of course, assigned reading. You may have a quiz to complete. There are several different types of discussion board forums to participate in. So it is a little bit different flow than what you would expect, you know, just comparing to your associate's program. So it's a different kind of work.
Some of you out there might even be a BTC graduate from years past or recently. So one of your questions might be, what are the benefits of choosing BTC's program?
I think the benefits of choosing BTC's program first comes with BTC culture. And again, if you've been a student here, I think you know what I'm talking about as far as, you know, instructors that really care about your success, and we want to definitely continue that type of culture. In addition, students that have taken courses here at BTC, we've already identified several or a couple of those courses that will transfer as credit. So that's going to decrease the overall number of classes that you have to take in this BSN program. And, you know, everybody likes to learn, and I'm certainly excited that you're continuing your education, but nobody wants to take more classes than they have to. So that is definitely a benefit, and will alleviate some of that workload to complete this degree.
How about somebody that's in the associate's program now? Is that something that they can get prepared for and ready?
Yeah, so at this point, if you're currently enrolled in the RN program here in the associate's program on campus, we're not able to offer you BSN classes, but you would be ready, if you graduate this May, you'd be ready to join our August cohort. So you can start that application process now, start learning about how to get everything prepared. It's great while you're in study mode, while you're in student mode, to keep going. So I would encourage you to do that. I took quite a break after graduation from associate's program before starting my bachelor's, and it was more difficult to get back in the groove of studying and, you know, adding that back into my already chaotic work-life balance. So it's great for those of you that are saying, you know, hey, I'm ready to jump right into that. I would encourage you to do so, and you can catch our next cohort in the fall.
I've got another great question. Can you take longer than 1 year and split the classes up, or is it a specific schedule?
That is a good question. So yes, we do have the ability to schedule your academic course over a longer period of time than 1 year. You do have to complete the program before 3 years is up. So within 3 years, it must be completed.
So what do you think is something different about BTC's program compared to other BSN programs?
So when we were looking and developing this program, we did look at a lot of the other programs that were offered out there, considered, you know, our own educational experiences. And I think what we've designed here is a really good program that's supportive of working professionals, but also includes content that's going to help you as a nurse. So even when you're taking, you know, American history, you know, we're looking at creating a person who is well-read, who is somebody that understands things that have occurred in the past, that can use research techniques to impact practice in the future. So I really, truly believe every course that has been included in this program is going to provide some kind of benefit to you as a nurse, that you're going to grow and learn, especially from a community standpoint, and with everything that we've seen, you know, pandemic related and just community health in general being a new focus for healthcare. This program is going to really prepare you as a nurse and make you competitive in the job market with this education.
one thing that I've noticed since I've been here at BTC is BTC is a little bit more than education. We're given that practical, we're given that hands-on, it's a little bit more personable. So I think that's an advantage of that as well.
I agree.
Part of so some of you might be asking, so where do I even start with this process? So one thing that you can do, definitely, we're always open to phone calls, text. You can reach out to us through email. But if you'll visit our website, and then under prospective students, there's a RN to BSN program. If you can click that, and then that links you up to interest in our college. And then you can do the application process. It's all 100% online. Again, you're more than welcome to come in, make some phone calls, but it is set up that way so that we can get you kind of used to that 100% online content. But it's basic things that we're going to be needing, driver's license and social. It's just going to be some basic information, some waivers, releases. And then what we do is once we have some of that information, we'll walk you through the next steps. You go through the first step, we'll send you an email with the step 2. You go through the step 2, we'll send you an email with step 3. So it's a pretty basic concept. It seems like many of them are doing it very well, and it's a very good way to do it. We had one candidate recently that had really completed it in 3 days. So it's doable. It's something that you can go that way.
And I do want to mention that you're not speaking to a computer when you're doing everything online. Daniel is the one behind the scenes. He's the one sending you step 1, step 2, step 3, and then when you move to financial aid, it's Wendy, so it's a live person guiding you all the way.
Not a robot.
Not a robot.
So in addition to those requirements, what prereqs do we need to have before coming into the program?
Yeah, the prereqs are going to be A&P 1, A&P 2. In some cases, those would be called human anatomy, human physiology, microbiology, chemistry, and nutrition. So we have a checklist that we'll send you that will kind of indicate all those. And by all means, we offer those here. So if you don't have them, or that needs to be one more thing that you might get, feel free to sign up for some gen eds here, and we can get those classes updated for you. Yeah.
Perfect. Do they have to, students, when they apply, do they have to take any kind of an entrance exam or anything through the application process?
No, good question. They don't have to. That's kind of what's nice about this. Not that they're done with exams forever in classes, but for the admissions process, no, there's no exams to do this. You know, they've gotten this far with their RN degree. They're ready to move on, and so the BSN is that next program. But no requirements, no testing for that.
All right, we've got another great question. Since it's all online, are exams proctored through camera?
We do not have any exams designed at this time that require a proctor.
Well, that's good news.
One more question kind of on that line. Erin, what do you think each week looks like as far as how much time that they would need to spend through that week?
So as far as how much time you're going to have to dedicate to your studies, that is a little bit of an individualized thing, and does come down to, you know, what type of a planner and learner are you. But I would definitely encourage you to take a look at the size of the course. We have some nursing classes that have a clinical component that are 5-hour courses, and so you would expect to spend probably about 5 hours actively working in that course through the week. That doesn't account for your assigned reading and that type of thing. Some of your other courses are 3-hour courses, and the same rule applies. So that's how I would encourage people to look at, you know, their overall course load. If you're taking a 5-hour and a 3-hour course together, you're probably going to be working on that stuff throughout the week about 8 hours. So that might differ, like I said, from person to person, depending on the speed of your work. There are some courses in which You will be doing some assigned writing and that type of thing. So there isn't just a ton of that. I know there are a lot of BSN courses out there where you just write papers until your arm falls off, and I wouldn't say that that's the type of program that we have here, but depending on what your assignments are, there may be some variability there, but I'm happy to talk through that. If anybody has a specific concern, if you want to reach out, we can take a look at what that would mean for you specifically with your work schedule and that type of thing.
Sounds like it's really set up well for maybe even those of you that where they work full time, may even have a family and kids. So it seems like it's set up to where it can be done.
Absolutely, absolutely. We wanted to make it accessible and reasonable to accomplish. So when you went through, you did PN and then RN, or through your RN program, you had to give up a lot of things. This program is organized a little bit differently as far as, the flexibility of you determining what time you're going to be doing these things so that you can remain working, supporting your family, that you're there, for your children as needed. So it's definitely doable.
One thing that we try to do is we've listened to the students, and this is something that they've wanted. So here we are. We're kind of introducing that to you. One of the big questions that I think some of the people out there have, we'll kind of direct that to Avril a little bit, but how about financial aid? How can I get financial aid for this program?
Oh, definitely. With this program, you will still fill out your FAFSA. We'll still look and see what you qualify for in financial aid. Basically the same process for those of you that have been through BTC. You're going to follow the same process, and we will do it every step of the way along with you.
Where do they start? Where do they start to apply for it? What's the process look like?
The first thing will be to complete your FAFSA. Once the FAFSA is completed, your financial aid representative can then build your budget, and it will be determined by what aid you have available. And then you can go further on discussing other options such as grants and scholarships.
How about, are scholarships, or is scholarships available?
There are scholarships out there. A lot of them are through your employers. There's also employer tuition reimbursement. We have a lot of students that their employers are doing that. They also tend to offer loan forgiveness. So that's something definitely to speak to your HR department about to see if that is something that you would qualify for. There are grants. If you qualify, there is still the Pell Grant. And here in the state of Missouri, we have the Missouri Fast Track Workforce Grant. Those that qualify for it, it is a tremendous help. And because you are working towards your bachelor's degree, you don't have it quite yet, you still would be able to see if you qualify for that grant to help you with your tuition cost.
I was able to take advantage through my employer when I got my BSN, a pretty good loan reimbursement program with them. So that definitely helped.
Great. And nowadays, it's probably even more.
Probably so.
Can't say for sure, but I bet.
And that's a great way to do that. I think that employers are always looking for that, if you want to call it a leg up, or that BSN that somebody has to offer. There's a little bit more, education there, as well as that practical feel and notice that you've got kind of a higher degree. So.
True. There are a lot of positions in nursing, especially in leadership positions, that a BSN is a requirement. Even if you wanted to come and be a teacher and nursing instructor here at the school, that's one of the requirements to do that from the state of Missouri. So, like I said, it definitely does make you more marketable for certain positions. And even if that's not something that you're interested in. You're interested in bedside nursing, which we definitely need those individuals. This still, as I mentioned before, increased knowledge. You're going to be a better patient care person with completing this education.
So just remember, the RN to BSN program starts every January and every August. So don't feel bad if you miss out on a January start. Just look forward to that August, get some things ready and prepared, get your file updated, and go from there. So any more other questions that we've got there that has came
Nothing
up?
here. I have a question. Who's going to be teaching these courses?
So we've already started recruiting, and we have several of our instructors hired. As I mentioned, we're looking for experts in the field. We've got some doctorally trained nurses that are going to be teaching some of our courses like health assessment. So I'm really excited about the experience that these individuals are going to bring to these classes. So you can kind of tap into their knowledge and experience and really get to learn from them. So I'm pretty excited about the lineup that we have for you.
So if somebody needed a little extra help in the area, we have the right people for it.
Absolutely, absolutely. The instructors are available, the SOS person is available, the faculty and administration here at BTC, as we've always been, are available to you. So definitely a sound support system. So if you have any concerns about being online, maybe your first experience was because we were forced to here on campus during the pandemic issues, I wouldn't let that, cause you any kind of fear. This is definitely a different situation than that. The tools to succeed are available to you, and you can definitely do this online.
Great. All right. Well, we had excellent questions today. If anybody else has a question, please chime in.
In the meantime, I'll put that number out again. If you have any questions, feel free to text. As far as on the website, there's a way to link over to that text as well. You can do an inquiry, so there's several ways to do that. But that number for texting is 417-771-3543. So just feel free to do that. Even if you've got questions, we're not going to continue to contact you. We want you to contact us. But if you've got questions that would pertain to any of the programs that we offer, feel free to kind of ask that question there.
And I know you've said this, definitely feel free to stop by. We've had quite a few of the BTC graduates swing by to ask questions and to fill out some paperwork. If they're having any issues, we would like to help them as tech support. So definitely don't hesitate to swing by the college. Your process is online, but we are still here for you.
Any other questions? Well, this has been good. I hope it's been helpful for you. We are here. I think we just had a question pop up. We don't want to miss if.
Well, it was giving your number in chat.
Okay. Very good.
Well, don't hesitate to reach out if you have any other questions. We've got the people prepared to get it answered for you and get you started on this journey.
This has been good. Thank you, guys.
Have a great rest of your day.
All right. Bye, guys. We do go until 10 though.
Well, we can see if
So if somebody
questions
comes
keep
in,
popping up.
yeah.
Okay.
I was trying to think what other questions that I have. And did you go over, I don't know, besides it being excellent in education, an RN to move to a BSN, what are the benefits to that?
So, as you mentioned, just the ability to apply for different types of positions that have that requirement. In all honesty, and I'll kind of speak candidly, before going into my BSN, I was kind of like, what am I going to learn, there that I don't already have? Because everybody in nursing kind of recognizes The associates part is the hard part, and I think that's a very fair statement. You're going to learn all of your skills, and it's just pretty grueling. So I kind of wondered, what more would this, do for me as a person and as a nurse? And then, in completing that program, I did recognize that, I did learn more without the pressures of just feeling like I didn't know anything. As you go through the associates program, everything's new. Well, now I was an experienced nurse. I did have some knowledge. So in a bachelor's completion program like this, the beautiful thing is you get to build upon that. So when you go into health assessment, it's not like everything is foreign. You get to take what you know and then learn new things beyond that, new techniques for assessment, new ways to care for your patient. And even while I was still in the class, when I would go in to see a patient, I was already doing those things that I didn't include in my patient care regimen or routine before. So it wasn't like I even had to wait till the end of the program to use my, bright, shiny new degree. The knowledge was gathered all along the way. And as I mentioned before, I can't, express enough, when you have access to somebody that is an expert in the field that you're in, I mean, that is a very valuable thing too, to be able to say to a nurse practitioner who is, as a nurse, the very most trained in a particular area, hey, how do you do this with your patients, and what do you see? And you get to take that and start incorporating it, into your practice, wherever that might be. So it really does, like I mentioned before, make you a better nurse. And I don't mean to imply that, somebody that doesn't have a bachelor's degree isn't a good nurse at all. That isn't it. But there's a lot more to it. In associates programs, we don't really focus in on community health. We focus in a lot on like hospital nursing. And if you're thinking, hey, I want to stay working in a hospital, that's where I will continue, practicing. That's great. But the people that you are seeing are part of that community health system. So it gives you a lot bigger view of, okay, this person has come into the hospital 10 times in the last 3 months. What's going on? Well, recognizing that they don't have access to a primary care doctor and things like that. You really start thinking on a different level about making sure that people have access to resources and that type of thing. So that's really where we focus some of our training in this program, and some of the new things that you can learn, and just different types of ideas about how to serve people.
Some well-rounded education.
Sure, yeah.
Great. Okay. All right, yes. So if you went to BTC for your RN, are all of the prerequisites done? That is a great question. You can answer that.
Majority of the time, yes. It's definitely, if you went to BTC, the majority of the time you would. I'll add a little bit to that. If you, so that answers that question. You would have had everything. That's a little bit of the advantage of a prior BTC student, that you kind of have those to bring in. And to add to that, we have your transcripts, we have some of your information. It doesn't mean that some of your information would need to be updated, but we have that information. Now, there could be others out there, as they listen to this, that they didn't get their associate's degree here. Then, of course, we would need those transcripts. We would need to evaluate them to make sure that, of course, everything carries over. Again, majority of the time it does, but there could be some areas that would need an additional class or needs to be updated. So hopefully that kind of answers that side of it, because I know there's probably some that might see this, listen to this, that are BTC grads, and there's others that probably are not. So
What would somebody have to do that hasn't graduated from VTC that does need to get some of those prerequisites? If they decided, for example, they wanted to take them with us in the spring, obviously that won't be online, that would be in the school, what would they need to do?
Yeah, definitely, again, the best thing to start is come in, kind of get that application as you would be a gen ed student, get those things started. Either that you need to update some of those classes or you didn't have them at all, so you would need to take those with us. And we offer those classes in the spring or in other semesters. So for an example, if you need chemistry, if that's one of them that you need or need to get updated, then we're going to offer that in the spring. It's kind of so somebody that's out there that maybe just needs that one more prereq for that BSN program, we do offer those here.
And that's helpful because we offer it, we're offering the RN to BSN completion how often?
Every January and every August. So it's open. So you've got kind of that window. I know it doesn't feel like it in January, but that's what we consider our spring semester. It doesn't feel like it the fall semester in August, but it is. So that's when those programs start. Now we have semesters that start January, and then May is the summer, and then August is the fall. So you can join in that at any time.
Get some stuff taken care of.
Mm-hmm.
Great.
Yeah.
And I know for people that have just recently joined, a lot of people have questions about how, if everything's online, how is the clinical portion going to be created? And you were talking about shadow health. Can you give an example of how they're to be able to use something that's online and learn something clinical?
Yeah, so I've been kind of using health assessment as an example for a nursing course, and that happens to be one of the courses that has a clinical component. So throughout the course, you are going into shadow health with weekly assignments, and you're performing physical assessment on a patient named Tina Jones. So Tina has, some health care concerns. She's got some psychosocial concerns going on. So the course is broken down to, each section of the assessment, and you go in and provide virtual care for Tina. As I mentioned, it's pretty cool technology. So instead of having to type in, for me, that's kind of, that would be a struggle to have to type in everything I wanted to say to an avatar. And you don't have to do that. You just get to speak to her. And the technology will, deliver that question and provide you with an answer, just like you were at the bedside with that patient doing that assessment. It's going to give you feedback on, maybe items that you missed that you could have asked or assessed. And again, we're looking at that upper level assessment. So some new techniques that you may not have done before, or maybe it's just going to help you improve in areas that you're already familiar. But it's going to provide that feedback back to you so you can become a better practitioner. So it's really cool.
Very interactive.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's amazing what they've been able to design. There are other scenarios in the areas of community health, in leadership and management, and managing a group of people and patient team. So, that's just one particular scenario that I'm describing, but the technology and the way that they use, that really real scenario in the virtual environment is applied in several different areas.
So what does the instructor do with the information from what the student has completed?
So there is a benchmark that is set that should be achieved once you've completed your assessment. The program is grading you in a sense. Yes, you completed 5 out of these 6 assessments, and so our recommendation is that you practice this 6th area that you accidentally missed or whatever. So the instructor is going to come in and they're going to look at that. And then, like I said, using that expertise that they have in the area, they're going to say, here's how I do this, or how I remember to not forget this particular portion, or here's another way that you could say or ask that question. So they're really just coming in and backing you up. There are, options to go in and correct yourself. You might be thinking like, oh my goodness, this sounds like a skills check off. Like, well, I get to try this one time and then I'm going to be critiqued. And that's not the case. It's a safe environment for practice. So, that in and of itself is a great way to learn.
Awesome. Daniel, can you think of any of the main questions people have had for you? Those that are applying?
Yeah. One of the probably the bigger questions would be just, how do I first get started? How does this work with my time? So you first get started, just number one, visit our website. Go there, if anything, take a glance at it, see what interests you. Under the tab of prospective students, scroll down to the RN to BSN program and start from there. Definitely the application process is 100% online. Doesn't mean it has to be. If you feel more comfortable, come in, visit with us. And if you don't know if this is right for you, we're not going to charge you to visit with us. But come in and see if it's something that fits for your life and where you are wanting to go. So that's a big question that I have, is just kind of where do I even start? Don't give up. If we've talked about some past prerequisites that you may or may not have, let us start there. Let us kind of evaluate your transcript that either you had from here and see if that works for you. If you have them from other colleges or institutions, let us look at those as well. We'll see if we can use anything on them or convert that over and let you know what you might need to do. We never want a person to give up on their dream or their goal. So let us see how we can help you with that. So those are some of the bigger questions that I probably have that do come up.
How about if somebody, because the application is online, preparing you for fully online classes, if somebody is struggling with that online application, do you know? Are you able to tell that they're even there trying to do it?
Yeah, there may be those of you out there that it kind of might set for a day or two. I had talked about earlier the lady that had got hers done in 3 days. You could get that done that quick. There may be others that they are interested at first and then they kind of just fade away. We don't want that. We want to reach back out to you and see what questions that you might have. If we can help you with anything online, we can walk you through that process. Like I said, we're always here available through the text or phone call or email. We have the resources out there to get in contact with you, but we want to know, what questions do you have for that next step? A lot of them get started, they can do some application parts of it, and then it's just kind of, they fade away. And so we want to reach out to you and see what you need the next steps help with. So.
And you're able to chat with them and ask them questions to see if they are having any issues.
Definitely, yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Well, and if I could add too, more than just the technical stuff too. We want to make sure that you know where to find things on the website and you know how to apply. But again, I'll emphasize more even of that. We're happy to sit down and talk about what this means for you personally, and how much time you have available, and if this is a reasonable idea for you. We believe that it is very much so, and we can kind of help you see that as well, because it's a big deal to go back to school. Essentially, like I said before, sometimes it's a little bit easier to just keep rolling if you're a recent graduate jumping back in, but maybe it's been a while, and I remember thinking like, wow, this is going to be one of the most difficult things that I do, and it ended up not being the case, but we're happy to talk you through some of those things too, more of that, okay, my personal situation is this, how is this program going to work for me? The beauty of it is that, you can complete in a year, and so that you're making that commitment, but we can help you figure out how to be successful, stay in the program, and get it done. And I would encourage anybody out there that's even thinking about it to just do it. Figure out how you can take this next step, even though it's a scary one. Just go for it.
Erin, how about you? Are you glad that you took those next steps and
Yes.
where you're at today?
Absolutely. Sometimes I was pushed or pulled, kicking and screaming, but I've never regretted it. Honestly, I've never regretted continuing my education. And it's looking back, I always joke with people. It's kind of like childbirth. Okay, if you've ever experienced that, you're like, this is awful, and then you look back and you're like, it really wasn't. Now that it's over, that wasn't that bad, and it's kind of the same thing in one of these programs. You're not going to be sorry that you did something for yourself, both personally and professionally, and that feeling that hey, I did this, I accomplished this, is definitely something that you've earned and will feel good about.
Awesome. Well, if we don't have any more questions, we can bid everyone adieu. And I don't think we do. It's been a pleasure speaking with you guys and answering questions
Yeah,
and hearing all the answers that I didn't even know.
Yeah, very good.